umbrella is open, we are going to not open a page that you've already created. We're going to find one that's on the network. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and go to File and go to Open, browse onto the network, and we're going to find DW4-1. So here is DW4-1. Has our links on the top, and it also has our banner on the top. Now, this is important. If you accidentally named these pages over here on the right-hand side the wrong name or you spelled it wrong, your links are not going to work. You need to fix that. Make sure that your pages on the right-hand side are correct. We are going to go ahead and do a File, Save As. And make sure that you save it back under your account for Striped Umbrella. And you're going to save this as About Us. So you're going to replace the About Us you already have. Okay? And then it's going to say the selected file already exists. Would you like to override it? You say yes to that one and no to the next one. You always say no to update links.
What happens?
It'll make it link to other folders, and then your links won't work correctly. Then you'd have to go back and redo all your links. You would highlight this and redo all your links and point to files. Every link on that page. Correct. Your links would not work when I go to grade it. Correct. Okay, first thing we have to do is we have a style sheet for Striped Umbrella. Attach it. You should know how to do that already. Inman, you're not in Dreamweaver. Attach your style sheet. Striped Umbrella. There's only one style sheet. So I went through and attached my style sheet. You can see it's linked over here on the right-hand side. Those are the styles we have set up on there. What I need to do now is I need to go through, and I am on my CSS on my properties on the bottom. You might be in HTML. I'm switching to CSS. I'm going to highlight those paragraphs, and I'm going to set those to body text. Okay. I'm now going to highlight Welcome Guest. I'm going to switch back to HTML, and I'm going to set that as heading 3. Now, you need to make sure your cursor is in the correct spot. I'm going to go right before the W in the paragraph of when you arrived at the Striped Umbrella. What we need to do is we need to browse and find an image. Okay, where are our images located if they came with the book? Yep, on the shared drive. Okay. So I'm going to go over here under my common on the right-hand side. And do you see where it says images? So my cursor is before the W in when. And then over here under my insert panel, I'm going to click on images. And it gives me a pop-up menu, and I then need to browse under the shared drive. Go to Chapter 4 under Assets, and you're going to choose the Clubhouse. Notice when I go through and select it on the left-hand side, it does give me a thumbnail preview on the right-hand side just to make sure, hey, this is where I'm at. The other thing it does show me On the right-hand side in my preview is it does give me the dimension of the image, 350 by 246, and it will show you how long it would take to upload at that speed. So when I click on OK, it pops up with this tag. We need to put in our alt tag. And our alt tag or alternate text is going to say Clubhouse. Once you have your alternate text of Clubhouse in there, you can click on OK. And then you will notice that your image is inserted there. You didn't have your cursor before the W in when. You had your cursor after the exclamation point in guest. There you go. So you should find in your Assets panel, when you go to expand it, that Clubhouse is there now. Okay? If you need to refresh, it should be there. Why does it automatically go in your Assets folder? That's how we set it up. When we defined our site, we went through and said the default folder for all images is Assets. So when I inserted this image, it automatically knows to put it in that Assets folder. And you will notice that it's there even though I haven't saved the page yet. Now the next thing that we're going to take a look at, under your Files panel, I'm going to expand it up here a little bit. I'm going to switch to Assets. Okay, so I'm switching from my Files panel to my Assets panel, and then I'm going to click on the very top for Images. And I talked about this on Friday. But you will notice, again, I'm just going to make it a little bit easier, a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to see. When I click on my images here under my Assets panel, it'll show me the 3 images that I have within the site. The other thing that we have is going to be, it then gives you the exact dimensions of each one. If you're like, oh yeah, what is my C-SPA logo dimension size? 200 by 123. Or your striped umbrella banner. It does give you your pixel size for each one of those. Very helpful, because what if I went through and changed it? These, you will notice that Clubhouse and C-SPA logo are JPEG images, and if I changed the dimension of those within Dreamweaver, it can distort it and make it look funny. Now you will notice that the striped umbrella banner is a GIF file, so that one is not as much, doesn't get thrown off as much as the JPEGs, but it can. So always be aware. You will also notice besides up here on the top you have images, you also have favorites. I don't tend to use favorites too much. I just like to look here to see all of the images that are within my site. So here is the image of our Clubhouse for the striped umbrella. Pretty impressive place. We're going to put another image right here on this paragraph. This paragraph talks about the boardwalk and the pool area that comes with our cabana and striped umbrella spa. But we don't have the image yet. We sent that out to someone that works on our team to go ahead and get that image inserted for us. So we don't really have the image. So when I go up here to Images, I'm going to choose the drop-down menu. And I'm not going to choose Image. I'm going to choose Image Placeholder. Again, my cursor is before the A and after when I'm doing this, because where your cursor is matters. And then when I go ahead and click on Image Placeholder, right here it gives me an option to put in what is the type of image I'm going to insert, and I'm going to be putting in a boardwalk. So the boardwalk image is going to go there, and then it allows me to set my height and width. And I'm going to say that my height is going to be 350, and then my width is going to be 218. Right here is going to be the color. If you wanted to change the color that would appear, I'm just going to leave it set to gray, but that's what that one is. And then the alt text is going to be board walk to the beach. I switched them. Nope. I said it wrong. 350 width, 218 height. I said them in the right order, and I said the wrong word. I apologize. So width 350, height 218. Thank you for catching that, Reed. So then we would go ahead after this is set up, and I would click on OK. And so now you will notice this is what happens when you insert a placeholder. It really puts something in on that page so you can see how it would work with your text. So if you're like, I want to go through and put something there, but I don't have it, and I'm going to send it off to the department, the art department, for them to create that image or find that image for me, and this is what I want. And that way you can dictate back to the art department the size image that you want, and they would deal with it, because we're choosing that size. Why? It matches the size of the other one. It gives you some symmetry on your page. Okay, let's go ahead and save our page. Now, miraculously, it's been a couple days at our web design firm, and they got that boardwalk image for us. Wasn't that nice? We did a little time-lapse work there. So normally you're not going to insert a placeholder and then put an image in over it. I just wanted to reiterate that, we just worked a couple days time in there. So now what we want to do is we actually want to replace this placeholder with the actual image. So we inserted it. We've done lots of other work on our web page. Now let's go ahead and change it with the actual image. To change it with the actual image, you will notice I select the actual placeholder, and then my properties panel down below really truly is an image placeholder. So all I need to do right now is go ahead and click on the source area right here, and I'm not going to click on point to file, but I'm going to go ahead and browse for file. And then when I browse for file, I need to go find it on the network. Yeah, and it's going to be called Boardwalk. And you will notice that this Boardwalk image is what type? Nope, PNG. Okay? And you will notice it's 350 by 218, and notice it gives you how long it would take to load up. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. And you will notice, because we inserted that placeholder, your height and your width is already set. And also your alt text is included on there, because when we inserted the placeholder for that image, it was done for you. Then once you found the image, life is good. Let's go ahead and save that page again. You can go ahead and close DW4-1 without saving. So we're going to go after the last paragraph that ends with beachwear. And then go ahead and enter in a paragraph break. How do we do a paragraph break? Just enter. A line break would be shift enter, so it would go immediately below. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to use Adobe Bridge. And I talked about Adobe Bridge before. Adobe Bridge allows you to use camera raw file formats that contains unprocessed data that are not ready to be printed. And raw data files are very similar to a negative if you were actually to develop film. Okay? So we're going to use Adobe Bridge, which is a program that is used in the Adobe Suite. It's a way to view the files in their original locations before you bring them into the website. Okay? Because Bridge is an Adobe product, it's an integrated application, which means you can use it to manage files as well as other programs such as Photoshop and Illustrator. You can also use Bridge to add meta tags and search text in your files. Okay? Meta tags are going to be those key, kind of like the keywords that we use on a website. Anytime you go to do a search on Google, if I wanted to find red shoes, I would actually go on Google and search red shoes. Those words, red and shoes, would be your meta tag. So Adobe Bridge uses the same feature. So what we're going to do right now is I've hit enter, and I'm going to go ahead and go to File, and yes, why can't I find it? I was looking way in the bottom. Browse in Bridge. Thank you, Jeremy. I'm on the bottom looking, going, I can't see it, I can't see it. So you're going to go to File and Browse in Bridge. Jeremy can see it and I can't. Now this may take a while because it's going to open up another software. So mine is spinning because I have lots of things running on my computer. Hopefully yours is going faster. What you have to do is you're going to need to browse on the left-hand side here for where all of our work is. So I'm going to go under Student Shared, SHS, and then we go to Classes, Grassel, Web Design, Dreamweaver, Chapter 4, Assets. And so when we do that, you will find on the left-hand side here, when I browse through them all the way, I have the content that is going to go ahead and show up right here. I can go through and adjust my preview versus my content, and preview just means if I click on it, it's going to show me right up on top all of my information. So again, we use this when we have file formats that are not ready to print, okay, using our raw files. And the one that we want to find is this actual SU logo GIF. So again, SU standing for our striped umbrella. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that that one is selected. And then in my Adobe Bridge program, I'm going to go to File, maybe, and Place. And then we're going to place it where? In which program are we using? Dreamweaver. So I'm going to go File, Place in Dreamweaver. When I do that, it's going to give you a way to go ahead and insert that image. You have to put some alt text in here. And our alt text is going to be the striped umbrella logo. Again, the alt text for inserting the striped umbrella logo is the striped umbrella logo. And then go ahead and click on OK. So now you can see that that logo is appearing in the bottom of the page. Now, when I look at my page here, great, I have my banner across the top, I have this logo here, this image for the clubhouse, the boardwalk, and striped umbrella. I don't really think that's an effective way of putting images on our page. Would you agree? Having everything jammed on the left-hand side? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to change some of our alignment. Okay? So select your clubhouse logo. And when you have your image, not logo, clubhouse image, and when you have your clubhouse image selected, you will be able to tell because your property panel is going to be set up to show you features for your image. We're going to go ahead and set the alignment to left. Right now, what is our alignment set to? Can you see it? Default. So we're going to change that alignment to left. Notice, where did it do the text now? That paragraph, where did we insert it? To the left of the W in when, right? So now where did it put that text? Directly to the right of it. So I really like how the text wraps right around the image now. But what doesn't work is our boardwalk image. So let's go ahead and select our boardwalk image, and let's set the alignment of boardwalk to right. It does look better, doesn't it? Okay, it took a really long page because before, when the image was just inserted, it was image, no text next to it, and then text below it, image, text, image. By going through and changing our alignment, we went through and it makes our text look a little nicer. I still think we have some work to do because I personally do not like how tight the text is to the image. We don't have a lot of white space there. If you still have Adobe Bridge open, you can go ahead and close that. It should be a program running on the bottom, so I'm just going to go ahead and close my Adobe Bridge. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I save this page as well. So let's go ahead and work on tweaking this clubhouse image. Right now, do we have a border on our clubhouse image? How can you tell, Reed? Nothing around it? Where else could I look? Okay, if I look right here, I have my clubhouse image selected. If I look right here, border, is there anything set? Okay, so go ahead and don't put 300, you're going to have a ginormous one. It's going to be per pixel. Make sure you have clubhouse selected, and we're going to put a border of 1 on the clubhouse. I see that. Not really. Now, I put 1 on there, but do I really see it? No. And one of the things that's going to happen is you're not really going to see that border until you go through to preview it. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. And do you remember how to preview? It's going to be right here. I'm going to go ahead and preview in Chrome. And then when I preview it in Chrome, can you see the black box around it giving me a 1 pixel border? It's not easy to see on the bottom part of this image because this is darker. But when we look up in the cloud area, you can see that you have a 1 pixel border going all the way around. Okay. Let's go ahead and add a 1 pixel border to the boardwalk as well. Now, I already told you that I didn't really like how the text is so tight to our images. So on our clubhouse image, we're going to set our vertical space. And again, vertical space stands for V space. That's going to be the top and bottom. And then we're going to set our horizontal, which is going to be our left and right. We're going to go through and set on our clubhouse right here on my properties panel. Right here, we're going to go ahead and do a V space of 10. And a horizontal space of 10. It won't always preview well in Dreamweaver. That's why I said we need to check it in the browser. Now look at what it did when I did a horizontal space of 10. The vertical space, there was already a little bit of a gap, so that wasn't as bad. Let's go ahead and do the same thing to boardwalk. Set your V and your H space to 10. It does, and you don't even realize how much just that little bit of white space really makes it a lot easier for your page to go ahead and be readable for your viewers. I just saved that page again just because I always like to make sure my page is saved. Now the other thing that we can do is having your boardwalk image still selected, we can actually go right here on my properties panel. I want to mouse down. I'm right here below the alt text and where it says edit image settings. To the left of it is edit the image in fireworks. This is edit image settings. And then we don't have this option there. So for example, if you are good at fireworks, and fireworks is comparable to Photoshop, not quite as good, but that was the image editing software that came out for web designers, but now everyone just uses Photoshop. You can go ahead and edit the image right within Dreamweaver and launch Fireworks. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to, with our Boardwalk image selected, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the properties. So what happens is it gives me this option right here. And remember when I said when we added this image to it, I said, what type of image is it? And I heard GIF or JPEG. Nope, we're not opening up Fireworks. And I said it was PNG. Well, I don't really want to use it as a PNG format. I want to switch and I want to have this image as a JPEG. So what I can do right in Dreamweaver from this format button right here is I can go scroll down and I can choose GIF or JPEG. And I want to choose JPEG. And when I do that, I get a bunch of different options. Okay? I get my image quality and I have smoothing. I can sharpen colored edges, and then also notice on the right-hand side, it shows me how long this image is going to take to load at that speed. The other option I have right here is to remove unused colors. What does that mean? Originally it was a PNG file, but now it's a JPEG, so there might be some colors that are saved in the file type that we don't necessarily need to use anymore. So it's going to go through and remove that. Right here, shows me what this image looks like at 100%, but if I did 12% and so on and so forth, so it really gives you an idea of how it would be viewed by your viewers. And again, that's just the percent action right here. Notice we do have an option to crop the image, okay? Right within Dreamweaver, so a lot of things are built in, but all we want to do right now is just change it from our PNG to our JPEG. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. Then it gives me an option when I do that to save the web image. Where does this need to be saved? Under Assets. And then under Assets, I'm just going to go ahead with the file name of Boardwalk and click on Save. Now, when I look at my Assets panel, I just hit refresh. How many Boardwalk images do I have? 2. If I publish my entire site, what's going to happen? Both of them will be there, the PNG and the JPEG. Which one do I really want to use? The JPEG, okay? So we need to be aware when we go through and do things like tweaking it right within Dreamweaver, because we originally put that PNG file, if I go to put my entire site, it's going to include everything in my Assets folder. Okay? That's why I always work, when I work in Dreamweaver, I always work with my panels expanded so I can easily click to see what is happening and how things are working within my site. I realized that alt text that we gave our Clubhouse image probably is not as descriptive as it could be. So let's go ahead and change the alt text for the Clubhouse from Clubhouse to the striped umbrella Clubhouse, just so it's a little bit more descriptive. So I can just click on the bottom. Again, I just changed it from Clubhouse to the striped umbrella Clubhouse. Yes, the striped umbrella Clubhouse. Same thing we're going to do for the Boardwalk. Right now it just says Boardwalk to the beach, so it's not really a sentence, so I'm going to change it to the Boardwalk. So that means I'm going to put the capitalized and Boardwalk lowercase. So what did we just do? After you have inserted an alt text, is it easy to go through and modify it? Most definitely, okay. Now, do you notice how your text wrap's different than mine? Why? screen size. Okay? So depending on how big your screen is will determine how much your text wraps around and how your images are going to be displayed. That's why it's always important to go through and preview on different sizes. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set our alt text accessibility option. What does that mean? Remember how I told you that there are lots of sites that we have to go through and automatically make sure we always have alt text on there? And if we don't do that, we can be in trouble? What was one of those sites? A certain business that has to have alt text? The government sites, because of the Americans with Disability Act, if they make a web page, it has to be accessible. So what we want to do is we want to make sure Dreamweaver makes us put an alt text on every image, right? Because if we don't do that and we're a web designing company, what would happen? You get fined for not having that on there. So let's go ahead and modify our preferences for this site. We're going to go ahead and do that under Edit and then Preferences. When you click on Edit and then Preferences, you get this big menu. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we have, under Category, we have Accessibility. Are yours all selected? Form, objects, frames, media, and images. Do you have checkboxes before all of them? If they were not checked, you would want to check them, because basically that says to make sure that we show attributes when we insert those options. It's going to pop up that menu to make sure that we have the choice to go ahead and do that. So if you were making a page where you didn't have to do that, you could go ahead and take the check mark off for that. So we're just going to go ahead and click on OK there. Oh, I misspoke. When we edit our preferences, it will be set for all Dreamweaver sites, not just for Striped Umbrella. So it would automatically be set for Caroline's Creations, TripSmart, and Blooms and Bulbs, not just for the site. It would be for any time that you are using Dreamweaver. So I just went through and we went through section 4.1 and 4.2 today. So I will finish up chapter 4 then tomorrow. It should not take too long. Going through, we'll be working on favicons tomorrow and just doing a little more work with our images and talking about web safe colors.